Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of HeArt Teaching. I'm Miss Davis, and today we're going to be making a self-portrait. This is not just any self-portrait, this is a Snapchat filter self-portrait. Now, I know that you guys have seen Snapchat filters before. Even if you don't have a phone, maybe a friend has shown you, or you've seen it around the internet, or you at least know exactly what it is. So what I did was I drew my self-portrait, and I'm going to walk you guys through that, and then I added details to it. So my detail was to add the rainbow drool Snapchat filter. The last detail you're going to add after you draw your filter details is that you're going to write some things that you like about yourself. It has to be about you. So if you like that you went out and got some exercise today, you can write that in your background. And we're going to use our words, and it doesn't have to be in any sort of format, but what we're going to do is we're going to fill up our background with things that we like about ourselves. Okay? So some of the things that you're going to need today are, first of all, a piece of paper. You're going to need a pencil and some kind of eraser. Make sure it's a good eraser. And then you're going to need a black marker to outline with and some colored markers to color with. Alright, so let's put that to the side, and I'm going to get out my pencil. And if you were in my class at the beginning of the year, we actually did some self-portraits. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a circle. There are two parts to drawing the head, and a lot of people see this circle as the entire head. Well, we are a bit older now, and we're going to draw both parts to the head. So first is the top of the head, and we're going to draw a circle. Now, this doesn't have to be perfect. I know we're not tracing the cans that we did at the beginning of the year. If you really want to find something around your house to trace, you do that. That is perfectly fine. I like to just kind of sketch it out. And there we go. Alright, mine's not perfect. Yours is not going to be either unless you just break down and trace, and that is fine as well. So if you need to, pause the video, go get you something to trace, and come back. Alright, so that is only the portion of the head from the top of the scalp to the bottom of the nose. So now we've got to draw from the mouth down. And what we're going to do is we're going to start on the very side of this circle. If you start any farther down, you're going to look like you got a lump or a dent in your head. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our pencil and draw a line straight down. It can be kind of a sketchy line. That is okay. It doesn't have to be perfect the first time, so you just keep redrawing it until you are happy with it. Alright, and I'm going to end somewhere just below where the bottom of the circle is, right here. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Remember to start on the very side of the circle. This is very important. If you start underneath the circle, you're going to have a lumpy head. And there we go. Alright, now somewhere below that, in the middle of these two lines, we're going to need a chin dot. And this is where we're going to draw these lines too. Now you don't have to keep the corners. We're just going to draw a diagonal line from, this is our jaw right here. So our mouth is going to go here, and even with our mouth is usually our jaw. So then we're going to trace the jaw all the way to the chin dot. There we go. And you don't have to keep these pointed corners. So what I like to do if I want rounded corners is I just erase a little bit of the corner. There we go. And I will round that off. Now it looks a little bit more natural, kind of like cheeks. If you don't like the pointed chin, you do the same thing. You just erase only the corner and you just kind of round it off. Now there's a more natural head shape. Alright, now we don't have to keep this rounded line. Let's actually erase this line here, okay? Alright, so let's take our eraser and let's erase just the bottom of the circle. Okay, we're not erasing the chin line that we just drew. We're not erasing the top of the scalp. We're just erasing the bottom of the circle. Now you should have your head shape. Alright, now, if you drew light enough, you should not be able to see where you erased the bottom of that circle. One quick tip here is to always draw lightly. If you draw too hard, you're going to make dents in your paper, and then it's really hard to erase those ghost lines. So the ghost lines are lines that are left behind after you've erased that didn't quite get erased very well, and to avoid that, you want to draw lightly from the beginning. So always draw lightly. Alright, now we're going to find the center of the face. Now make sure that you're drawing it this dot, we're going to draw a dot in the center of the face. Make sure this dot is halfway between the top of your head and the bottom of your chin. If you draw this dot too high, your eyes are going to be on your forehead. Just trust me. I know it doesn't sound right, but your eyes will be on your forehead if you draw this dot too high. So this is where our eyes are going to go. And we're going to draw a little dotted line across that dot very lightly because we're going to erase that later. We don't want to leave that there. But this is where our eyes are going to go. Now we're going to draw a dot halfway between the eye dot and the chin. Okay, so make sure it's halfway between the eye dot and the chin. And I know it sounds funny, but this is where the nose is going to go. Now that's not our nose. We're not going to draw a dot for a nose. And draw a dotted line across it. And if you need help getting your line straight, try using a ruler or the edge of another piece of paper. Okay, last dot. We're going to make one more. This is the mouth dot, and it's got to be halfway between the nose and the chin. Very important. Make sure it's halfway. Okay, and draw your dotted line across there. Now, I know it doesn't look right because you've been drawing your eyes a little higher on the head and your nose a little higher and your mouth a little higher, but these are actually realistic proportions, okay? I draw in a stylized manner, but I still use realistic proportions. Okay, before we draw our eyes, nose, and mouth, we're going to draw our ears. So our ears start on the side of our head, even with the eye line, okay? So we're going to start right here on the eye line. I've got my dotted line going across here, and we're going to go up just a little bit and all the way down to the nose line. So if you take a look at yourself in the mirror, your ear actually starts about your eye or your eyebrow, and it goes all the way down to your nose, okay? So ears are often a little bit bigger than people like to draw, but if you look in the mirror, this is actually the realistic area that an ear actually should be drawn in. So let's do it on the other side. I'm going to start at my dotted line here. I know it's hard to see because I draw lightly because we're going to erase later. And I'm going to draw up just a little bit and all the way down to the nose line. And there's my ears. Alright, before we do the face, let's draw the rest of the body. So we're going to draw 2 lines for the neck. If you draw your lines too far apart, you're going to look like you're very bulky, chunky, or like you got a football neck. You know, those guys work out to get those muscles on the sides of their neck, so you don't want it to be too far apart. If you draw them too close together, you're going to look a little unrealistic, okay? Nobody has a neck that skinny. Okay, maybe an anime character or a cartoon character like Bugs Bunny, but we're not them. So we're going to draw our neck just kind of realistically spaced apart, something like that. And it can be straight lines. I like to put a little curve on mine. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to draw our shoulders. Now, shoulders are often a lot wider than people think when they first start drawing portraits. So we're going to take the bottom of our neck and we're going to curve out. Okay, and I like to take the shoulders in baby steps because a lot of people will draw their shoulders right here under their ears. Or a lot of people will draw their shoulders way off the page, which is fine if your head is big enough and it's in proportion to that size of shoulders. But our shoulders are going to be just a little bit shorter than going off the page. So now we've got this curve here. That's very important. We're not going to make a corner at the bottom of our neck. That's not realistic, okay? It's not natural. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a line straight out from that curve and then a big curve down. Now take a look at where I'm curving this at. Is it underneath our ear? Nope, it's a little farther out. Now my head's a little smaller than what we drew at the beginning of the year. We actually made some pretty big heads, so our shoulders went completely off the paper, and that is fine if you drew your head that big, but my head is a little bit smaller this time, so my shoulders are actually going to fit onto the paper. So after I draw my big round line for the shoulders, I'm just going to go straight down to the bottom of the paper. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing, go out from that curve. Make sure this is a curve and not a corner. Go out, and then a big curve down. And this side, I'm a little closer to my right side, so it's not going to look exactly like this side. It's going to go off the paper just a smidge, not too much, and there we go. So I have my head a little crooked, my neck was a little crooked, so I'm going to make my body a little crooked. That's okay. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add our hair shape. This is where a lot of people want to draw the individual strands of hair, but instead we're going to draw a hair shape. So when we draw our hair shape, we're going to draw some lines in front of the head and some lines over the head, okay? So a lot of people like to draw individual strands of hair, and that gets a little messy, it's hard to color, and it actually distracts from your portrait. So we're going to draw a shape for our haircut, okay? Alright, so my haircut is kind of medium length, and I tuck my hair behind my ears. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my bangs inside my head shape here. So I'm going to start a little bit lower than my scalp. Think of this as the skin of your head. Okay, you want to put some hair onto the skin of your head. So I'm starting my bangs, which is the hair that falls in front of my face, right about here because I'm parting my hair on the side. And I'm just going to draw a line that goes to my ear. That's very important. If you want your hair tucked behind your ear, it has to touch your ear. Now, if you don't want your hair tucked behind your ear and you want it to kind of fall, it's still going to go around your eyes. So let's say you want your hair to just kind of fall down to your shoulders if you've got real long hair. You just draw it around your eye, and you know your eye would be right here on the eye line. So you draw it around your eye, and then gravity takes hold and it goes straight down. Or if it's curly, it's going to wave down, but it's still going to go straight down. Okay, so I tuck my hair behind my ears, so I'm going to finish this. And the other side goes to my ear. Okay, let's say you've got hair much shorter than this. I'm going to turn to the back real quick. And I'm going to quickly draw. This is just a quick drawing to kind of show you how to get a short haircut on here, okay? Doesn't look good. That's okay. All right, so if you've got, let's just do a buzz cut real quick, okay? If you've got a buzz cut, you're still going to see your hairline in front of your face, okay? It's not long hair or anything, but it's where your hair stops and your forehead begins. So it's going to look something like this. Down below the scalp, not touching the scalp, we're going to draw kind of a dip. And then on one end of the dip, we're going to draw another curved line to touch the ear. We're still inside the head. Same thing on the other side. It's going to go down and touch the ear. So your hair actually goes down in front of your ear just a little bit. If you want to draw that, that's fine. If you don't, this still looks pretty good. Still looks realistic. Okay, and there's the hairline. So we're drawing a buzz cut, like you've got hair, but not much at all. All right, and you could leave the top of the head like this, but this is more like the scalp that we have right here. So I like to put a little hair on top of the scalp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the top of the ear, and since it's a buzz cut and I don't have much hair, I'm going to just kind of trace around really closely to my scalp. So there's not much hair, so we don't have to, have a bunch of volume or anything. We don't have to make our hair too big, but we want to put a little bit of hair on top of that scalp. So we're still going to go all the way around the scalp. Now what we do is erase the scalp line. So the scalp is like the skin of your head. And there is a buzz cut. Now let's say your hair is a little bit longer than that and you've actually got some bangs, okay? Maybe you can see the hairline on one side, but then you've got some bangs going across. Okay? You could do it like that. Maybe you've got some spikes on top of your head instead of a smooth line. So what you could do is you could draw up and then make a spiky line all the way across. Okay, obviously I'm doing this really quickly just to kind of show you guys some different variations. But just kind of think about your hairstyle, and if you need some more help drawing your hairstyle, look up hairstyles online and pay attention to the shape that the hairstyle makes, not the individual strands of hair, okay? That's really important. You want to look at the shape starting at the top of the head and going around the ears and then above the eyebrows and how those bangs really fall. Okay, I'm going to go back to my hairstyle here. I've got my bangs already. Now I'm going to draw the top of my head, and this is what I mean by the hair shape. We're not drawing hair strands, we're making a shape. So since I part my hair on the side, somewhere above my scalp, I'm going to draw the letter V, and that's going to be the part of my hair. So I'm parting my hair. That's where my hair kind of falls to one side and then the other. So on one side of the V, I'm going to take one side and I'm going to go all the way around my ear. And this is my hairstyle, so you draw your hairstyle. And my hair is kind of straight until it gets to my ear and it starts to wave. My hair is medium length, so it's going to go behind my neck. And if your hair was longer, you would just continue that line all the way down behind your shoulders. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. All the way around my head. And then it starts to wave at my ear. And I've got medium length hair, so it kind of ends behind my neck. Once again, if it's longer, you take it down. You could have it in front of your shoulders if you want. But just remember, your hair is not see-through right here. If you do long strands of hair, just remember to color this area right here as your hair too. We cannot see the wall behind us through our hair. We have hair that falls behind our head too. Okay, now that I've got my hair shape on, I can erase the scalp. So I'm going to do that. And when you erase, make sure you hold your paper tight and that you're not really pushing your paper. If you end up pushing your paper with your eraser, you're going to kind of wrinkle your paper. So always pull. I know I pushed a little bit, but it's because I know what I'm doing. Okay, so now let's draw some clothes. I'm just going to draw a simple... I'm just going to draw a simple U-shaped neck, and I'm just going to be in a t-shirt. So I'm going to start at the bottom of the neck here, maybe even on around the curves just a little bit, and I'm going to draw a U-shaped neck all the way to the other side. So one mistake a lot of people can make here is drawing the neckline too high. They try to draw it up here, and this is a little too high unless you're drawing a turtleneck. So if you're drawing a turtleneck, that's probably fine. If you want like a tight necklace, what they call a choker, those would kind of hang up here around your neck. But any like necklines that fall with gravity are going to be at the bottom of your neck, even like kind of going down your chest a little bit. And then if you wanted like a necklace, that too is going, and it might start a little higher, but it's going to fall, down your chest. So let's put a necklace on real quick. All right, so we're just going to do a quick one. All right, so there is my portrait. Now I've got to add my details. So details are going to be the eyes and however you want those to look, the nose, however you want that to look, the mouth, and this is where you can add your Snapchat filter. So in mine up here, I ended up adding the Rainbow Drool Snapchat filter. That's a fun one. So when I added my mouth, I just went ahead with my pencil and I drew the rainbow over my clothes and everything. So we're not going to outline until we've got all of our pencil lines ready to outline. So if you need to like draw and erase, you can still do that. All right, so just draw your Snapchat filter and your eyes on the eye line, your nose right here on the nose line, and your mouth on the mouth line until you're happy with it. Erase it if you don't like it and redraw it. And you can always look up more tutorials on the internet, okay? So I'm going to go through drawing my details to kind of show you guys what it looks like when you add your eyes, nose, and mouth. And I think I'm going to add like, I think there's like a teddy bear Snapchat filter. So I'm going to do something with that, okay? All right, so I'm going to speed up the video so you guys can kind of watch me draw, and you can draw along with me, or you can watch it however many times you want, and you can just follow along, pausing the video whenever you need to, okay? All right, here I go. Okay, and there's the details that I want to add. Now, I'm going to erase a few lines like the rest of the dotted line that we didn't use. We have the dotted line here for the nose, just to kind of make sure we have the nose in the right place in the middle of our face. We had the eye line up here going through the center of our head, and you see now why we didn't want to draw our eyes too high, because we had to have bangs and a forehead, and your face would be way too high and your hairline would be way too high to look realistic if we had drawn our eyes any higher than we did. So I've got my eyes right here on my eye line, and they're spaced about an eye width apart. So I could draw one more eye in between, and that's how I know that this is a realistic proportion. Okay, make sure you have the same space between your eye and your ear on either side. And we've got our mouth down here on the mouth line, not too close to the chin and not too close to the nose. And now we can erase our dotted lines. Okay, and I've decided to add some freckles. So I'm going to add just a couple of freckles across the nose here and under the eyes a little bit. I tend to have freckles during the summertime. Okay, and they kind of curve up around the nose and then down under the eyes. And you can have them different sizes too. That gives a little bit of variety. And now I'm going to trace. So I'm going to put my pencil away because I'm happy with my drawing. If you are not happy with your drawing, identify something that you can fix, that you could improve on, and erase it and draw it better. The more you draw it, the better you are at drawing it. So if you don't like something, just erase it and redraw it, making sure to draw lightly every time until you're happy with it, until you get the results that you want, and then you can trace. Okay, and when we're done tracing, we're actually going to take our eraser and we're going to pull it across the paper to make sure all of our pencil lines are gone. So we're going to hold it tight with one hand. If you don't do this, you'll pull your paper. And we're just going to pull our eraser, doesn't matter what size, it can be your pencil eraser, across the paper just to make sure all of those pencil lines are gone. Now, if your pencil lines are not erasing, you probably drew too hard. There's not much you can do about that. That's why I say to always draw lightly, because if you press down, you're going to make these dents in your paper, and you cannot get the surface of your paper back the way it was. So if you've made some dents, just realize that nobody's perfect and take this as practice. You can always draw another one. You can rewatch the video and draw it again and again, until you get the results you want. Okay, I'm going to turn it. So once again, you don't have to be perfect. This does not have to be your masterpiece or anything. So don't get down on yourself. If you've got a few ghost lines on there, chances are when you color it later, it's going to go away anyway. One tool you can use to kind of help hide those ghost lines is to color with markers. So I like to color with markers on mine. Now, the last step before we color is we're going to write some things that we like about ourselves in the background. And it can be straight across. You can write it in swirls. You can trace the words around your head if you want. But you're just going to write some things that you like about yourself. So now the last step is to go over all of your words with your black marker, and be really careful when you do this because your words can kind of run together, especially if you're a small writer. So if you wrote your words pretty small, you might want to get like a black pen instead of a black marker. I'm going to use a black marker because I'm used to tracing things with black markers. Plus, I have really good markers that don't run. If you're using like Crayola markers, those may spread a little bit after you apply it to your paper. So if you wrote pretty small and you're worried that your words are going to run together, get you a pen, just a regular pen, and trace over them that way. And then we're going to erase the pencil lines again. So I'm going to speed up the video here and you can watch me trace. Alright, and the last step before we color is we're going to drag our eraser across, holding our paper tight, and getting those pencil lines gone. Once again, if you drew a little too hard, just consider it practice. This does not have to be a masterpiece, and make sure that you draw lighter the next time so you don't make those dents in your paper. Alright, there's my uplifting Snapchat filter self-portrait. I've talked about myself and the things that I loved, kind of make me feel better during this hard time. And I've got a cute Snapchat filter on my portrait. And now it's just a fun coloring page. So I'm going to get out my markers and color. And I will speed up the video so you guys can just have the satisfaction of seeing it colored while you color. Okay? just to prove to you guys that I make mistakes too. I want you guys to look right there. Okay, I make mistakes too. It doesn't matter how old you get or how experienced you get. Everybody's human and everybody makes mistakes. Oh, look. There's another one. So I make mistakes too. Don't get down on yourself for making mistakes. I just found another one. Okay, you are only human. The more you practice, the better you get, of course, but you're always going to have little mistakes and things that you don't like about your artwork. It's part of being an artist, guys. You self-critique all the time as you're making your art, after you've made your art. You know, as an artist, we never think our art is good enough, but it is, okay? It's the best you could do, and you're always going to get better the more you practice. So, hey, just keep drawing. Alright guys, this has been Miss Davis. I hope you guys enjoyed this project. We're going to do another drawing next week, so I have the same supplies out and ready. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys again next week. Bye!